and welcome to Lily's Library. So today we're going to be talking about the pretty giant stack of books I would like to read throughout autumn. So let's just get straight on into it. So autumn has well and truly begun here in Australia. It's starting to get a lot cooler and colder. The leaves are starting to change colour and I'm so here for it. So there are quite a few books that I've been kind of saving and I feel like are perfect for this time of year. So let's talk about all the ones that I will be prioritising over the next few months. So I'm going to start with classics. I want to try and read 3 classics this year. I did start Pride and Prejudice, but I haven't finished that, so I'm going to be still working through that. So one of the first classics I want to focus on is The Lottery by Shirley Jackson. This is actually a little short story collection, so The Lottery is one of the stories within this. I think we've got quite a few different ones in here, so you can see the list of all the different stories that this includes. I don't really know what any of them are about, and Shirley Jackson is an author I've been wanting to read for ages. I have The Haunting of Hill House, which I'm going to be saving for Halloween, but I want to read this first, so I might try and get to it soon, and maybe try and read like a story a week or a story a day, but we'll see how we go. Then I'm also going to be trying to finish Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I started this 2 years ago now, almost, a year and a half ago, and I am on chapter 11, so I'd like to really pick this up and get back into it. I was really enjoying it, I find classics really difficult to read if I'm not in the mood for it and if I'm really exhausted, so I would like to try and get to this more soon, seeing as it's kind of like those perfect Gothic vibes, which I really just associate with autumn. Now, quite a few of these are dark academia books or just other books that I kind of like associate with kind of cooler months, and I don't really have a distinct reason for all of them, but some of them I just feel like it fits for this time of year. But the first one I'd like to try and get to is When Women Were Dragons. This is by Kelly Barnhill. I've had this on my TBR for ages. I watched a video where a YouTuber was reading it and it really sounded interesting and they seemed to really enjoy it. I don't remember exactly what this is about, at least not the intricate details about it. From my memory, it is set in a small town or a small area in the United States where women there are very much oppressed, and they're kind of trying to deal with that and fight back, and they slowly start to turn into dragons, and I'm assuming that is a physical manifestation and a kind of different thing to talk about them fighting back and gaining control and becoming powerful and being themselves, really. So it sounds really interesting and I just absolutely adore this cover, and I'm really intrigued to see what this is like because I have heard such good things about it. I also would like to try and get to Private Rights by Julia Armfield. This is the only book of hers I haven't read. I believe this is based off of King Lear or a form of a King Lear retelling, so I would also like to read King Lear before that. So in this I know we follow 3 different sisters who have kind of been estranged and haven't seen each other for years but are reunited and come together again after the death of their father. This is set in an area where it's been raining for a long time and that's kind of reshaped the way people live and this existence in general. And I just feel like autumn is the perfect time to read Julia Armfield books because they're slightly creepy and got those like kind of vibes to it. And I'm just really interested in seeing what this one is like. Then I've got a historical fiction I want to read, and that is Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. I actually did start this as well and I got a decent bit of the way through, but I would like to restart it. I feel like this is just kind of a very autumnal read. So this, like I said, is our historical fiction. We follow like different generations of this same family. It starts off being set in Korea and we follow this man who was born club-footed and cleft-lipped, and he marries a 15-year-old girl and everything. And it's talking about their relationship and how he experiences life being someone who is disabled. And then we also follow his daughter who ends up becoming pregnant because of a married yakuza, but this has a lot to do with the Japanese occupation of Korea as well, and the daughter actually ends up marrying a Japanese man who is a Christian minister, and she goes to Japan with him to start this new life. So we kind of follow that through the different generations and through these different areas and what that was like. And I know this is going to be a very tough read, but I'm very happy that I will be finally getting to this because it is something that I've heard such incredible things about and has been on my TBR for too long. So I would really like to get to this autumn because I think it's just a fitting time for it. Then I've got a translated book that I'd like to get to, and that is The Healing Season of Pottery. I feel like the cover of this is honestly just kind of what sold it as an autumn read for me, but this follows I think she's a news writer, or she works in journalism as in some capacity in a writing job, and she's basically very fatigued and over that job, so she ends up quitting and kind of ends up just becoming a hermit for a little bit. She doesn't leave her house, she doesn't leave her apartment, she hasn't gone outside in ages. And when she finally does venture outside, she stumbles across this pottery studio and ends up joining and taking classes, and really just finds her love for life again as she does craft stuff with her hands and get kind of like that physical connection to it all, and gets to make something herself. And it just sounds really sweet and interesting, and I'm very excited to get to this one. But yes, this is The Healing Season of Pottery. This is by Yeon So-min, and it just sounds really interesting. Now, I also have some fantasy books I'd like to try and get to. The first one is the newest T. Kingfisher, or this actually isn't that new now because there's been some other books that have been published that I need to pick up. But this is A Sorceress Comes to Call. This came out a few months ago now, I believe, and this is a Goose Girl retelling. Honestly, that's all I really know about it. I don't really know much about Goose Girl itself as a fairy tale, so I'm kind of very excited for this one. I just absolutely adore everything T. Kingfisher does, and something about her books just scream autumn to me. They're just like perfect for that time of year, and I'm just so excited for this. The other fantasy book is a YA fantasy that I've had for quite a while now, and this is Unholy Terrors. This is by Lyndall Clipstone, and it sounds really interesting. In this, we follow a young woman, Evelyn, who is a warden and a warrior. She has dedicated her whole life to this thing. There are these monsters that have kind of been plaguing them and attacking them, and she is tasked with going and finding out more of them, and I guess potentially taking them down. And she ends up meeting someone who is one of these monsters, and they decide to start working together and journeying across the land. And the only way these monsters can survive is by feeding off blood, or that's the only way that this sky will help her with her mission, but it is against the law and just not right for a warden to be feeding them blood. So she's going on this journey, and it's more about whether she'll come back unchanged, if she comes back at all. And it seems really interesting, and like it's going to have a lot to do with unpacking what these monsters are and the conception and everything that she's kind of grown up with, and finding out that maybe her people are kind of in the wrong is what it seems like it'll be. It just sounds really interesting, and this cover, something about it is very autumnal. Again, like the colors, I don't know, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from it. Now, the last books on my TBR for autumn are, of course, Dark Academia. Dark Academia and autumn go hand in hand. It is just like perfect for it. I'd say that's a lot to do because the US school year, I believe, starts in fall, and typically these books are set at prestigious colleges in the US or the UK, but I'm very excited for all of them. I've got 3 that I want to talk about. So the first one is the one I'm probably the most on the fence about, or most nervous about out of all 3 of these, and that is In These Hallowed Halls. This is a short story collection. It is just different Dark Academia ones. We've got some very well-known authors in here, like we've got Olivia Blake and ML Rio and David Bell, and I did try and read this a while ago, but the first story just really didn't draw me in. So I think I'm going to start with ML Rio because she is one of my favorite authors, and I absolutely loved If We Were Villains and Graveyard Shift. So I really would like to read that at the very least. If I don't end up reading that and I just try and read another one and absolutely hate it, I will jump straight to Emma Rio's one, and then I will probably end up unhauling this just because I've had it for such a long time that I just don't think I'm going to read it, and I'm pretty picky about Dark Academia. I have to be in the mood and I have to absolutely adore the writing. I'm also nervous because I'm not the biggest fan of Olivia Blake's writing. I tried reading the Atlas 6, I think that was her most popular one and like the first one that got published, and I really just didn't vibe with any of the characters or anything that was happening. So I'm a bit nervous about that, but I would like to give her another go, and I feel like maybe this short story would be a good way to get into it. But yes, if I don't end up reading any of these short stories, or if I only end up reading ML Rio's and maybe Olivia Blake's and I don't have majorly strong feelings, I think I'm just going to get rid of this because I don't think I'll finish it. Now, an iconic Dark Academia that I haven't read is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I actually did start this. Oh wait, I thought I had put the bookmark where I finished, but I didn't. I think I read I read the prologue and started the first chapter, so I didn't actually get that far, but this is a very iconic and quintessential Dark Academia. This is just so well loved. It is that very same formula, like prestigious students, someone gets murdered and something goes wrong and they're trying to figure out how this person died and who was responsible, and they're all unreliable narrators, that kind of vibe, which I absolutely adored in If We Were Villains. But I'm just nervous about this because it's so thick. It's 500 and something pages, I believe, 600 and something pages. So I am a bit intimidated by that, and I don't know if Donna Tartt is for me. I've heard very mixed things. I feel like her books are very divisive. People either love them or hate them, and they hate them for very valid reasons. But I would really like to give this a go. Like I said, this has got very unlikable and pretentious characters. So in this, it starts with one of our characters, Bunny, who is dead. All of their friends have found Bunny, and we're kind of going throughout the whole book trying to find out what happened and who, if any of them, killed Bunny. And it sounds really interesting, and there's some quotes from this that are just so beautiful that I'm so excited to read it. And the final book I would like to try and get to over the next few months is S, or Ship of Theseus. This is like, I don't really know how to explain what this book is, and I don't really know what it is in general. I know it is a mystery, and it is kind of told through a library book and between two different readers who are trying to piece together this mystery. So you can see like there's all different notes. There's also like different inserts and stuff. Like we've got kind of this newspaper from, I guess, the campus and the school newspaper, and like you're meant to just piece it all together. So there's all these different things that are inserted in this library book that these two people have been communicating through to kind of like figure everything out. Like there's napkins, there's postcards, there is all sorts of cool stuff in it, and oh, there's a piece of paper and a postcard, and it's just, it sounds so interesting. I did read like the first page, and it took me a disappointing amount of time to read the first page. So it's something that I think I might just slowly start to make my way through over the next few months. I got this as a Christmas gift a few years ago now, and I've been wanting to read it ever since. I'm just so intimidated by it. But this one is by J.J. Abrams and Doug Dorst, and I just really want to get to it soon. It just sounds really intriguing, so I think it's something I might just, like I said, slowly read a few pages every now and then and try and get through it over the next few months, or at least before the end of the year. I don't know if something I can dedicate a whole bunch of time to in one go, but we'll see. But these are a whole bunch of the books I would like to read in autumn. Let me know if you have read any of these and if they're a favorite, or anywhere that I should start out of any of these. I'm just so excited to get to all of these. Let me know as well what books are on your TBR for the season, whether you're in the Southern Hemisphere like me, going into autumn, or whether you're going into spring and summer. But I will see you all with a new video next time. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.